Good morning. I'm Jane from the pond, out with a walk with Hannah. And as you can see, we got some leaves starting to fall, about to cover up our road. So an excellent resource for gardening. Dick and I decided that we are going to try to keep on gardening as much as we possibly can through the winter months. And so leaf mold here, or the ability to make leaf mold, will help us to keep some of our crops nice and warm. So we're starting to lay down a pretty thick layer of leaves that we will chop up and add to some of our beds. What I'm zoomed in on right now is a muscadine vine that has grown way up high into the canopy of the trees to find sunlight. But it starts here, and I'm going to try to follow it, center the screen here as it keeps on climbing up and up and up into the trees. And there are some muscadine fruit. It's probably hard to see, but they could almost be mistaken for something like acorns, but they're actually muscadine fruit hanging down. And I discovered it on a walk when I found a grape, what I thought was a grape. Like, who's been on my property walking around? And then I realized later, after talking to Dick, it was actually a muscadine fruit that had fallen from this tree right here. And what we discovered here are smaller muscadine plants that might be pretty easy to transplant. Hi there, Hannah. You're helping me out. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, so we have a lot of muscadine vines, or plants, I should say, that we might be able to transplant into a more sunnier area and see if we can get some cultivation going that way. Thing about it is you need male and female, and then not until they produce flowers will you know which kind you have. Did you find anything interesting yet? One method of trying to continue our gardening through the cooler months is using the agro cloth that you see here, just to keep the frost off the plants, maybe to keep the soil temperatures a little warmer than if they weren't protected at all. But underneath these are again just frost tolerant plants that we're just giving them a little leg up. And I'll be removing the covers here shortly so you can see what we've planted underneath them. And here I planted kohlrabi. I had kohlrabi planted where right now you don't see anything. I've got 2 kohlrabi left standing because of cutworms, and I have sprayed them with BT. I have put ground up eggshells and coffee grounds around the plants, and as you can see, these worms still come around and just snip the stem. So can I get this to focus? There we go. But they just snip off the leaves and seem to carry on their merry way, destroying more plants. So even though I've applied multiple applications of BT and tried different methods, it was really too late to save this crop of this bunch of kohlrabi. I think there's another kohlrabi right there that somehow has avoided detection from the cutworms. So that's a sad story, but it didn't stop there. Along with the kohlrabi, I'd also planted cabbage, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, and beets. And the cutworms did not give me any sympathy at all with this being my first time, you know. Maybe take a plant or two. No, they really just demolished my cabbage row. Now, since then, I have removed some of the cabbage that survived them and planted onions. So they're just starting to come up right here. So we'll see how the onions do. And the second row here, which had the kale, also was destroyed by the cutworms. And this is after me putting in some DE around the plants and BT on the plants. Nothing really helped at all. The DE actually helped me catch some of the culprits. They were called the dingy cutworms. But since then, I've not seen any more, even though my plants continue to disappear. Now, I read another way of protecting your plants is to put a collar around them. And so I have done this with the broccoli. So far, I've had some success. So I just used a milk carton and put them around the plants. That's the bottom of the milk container. Then I cut plastic strips and stapled them together and pulled the plant leaves through. And so far, they seem to have survived. I'm not sure that cutworms can't climb up the collars, but at this point, it's been several days. I'd like to say about 4 or 5 days that I've tried this, and the cutworms has snagged another one of my broccolis that I didn't have the collar around, and left the ones I had the collar around alone. So keeping my fingers crossed that we might keep the broccoli that we currently have out here. This is the same with the cauliflower. The reason why the cloth is still on most of it is because all my cauliflower is either destroyed by the cutworms or I move them to the hoop house, except for this one as a test, and that's the top of the milk jug. And so far, it looks like it's healthy and surviving those cutworms. Beets are having the same issue. I have to see if I can get some way to protect them. I don't usually drink a whole lot of milk, so I'm gonna have to find something else besides a milk container. But see, this plant right here, gone, just gone. And it did have BT on it. And it's horrible when you can't see what's killing your plants. So I'm gonna see if I can find a method of protecting the rest of these beets. This is our Kentucky pole beans, and they've done a great job. We planted them at the right time to produce some green beans before the first frost, and we've already started packaging up these beautiful long green beans. Look at them. We picked the majority of the larger ones yesterday, and so maybe tomorrow we'll pick some more as they continue to get a little bit bigger. But this is one of our successes that we are happy about. We had some bush beans that at first weren't producing very well, and then we finally got to understand more about how you need to pick the bean to get it to produce more beans. So then we decided to try the pole beans, and this will probably continue until the first frost. But we have had lots of success with these guys right here, and just watching them grow was fun because it's so fast. And so if you're a first-time gardener and you just want to be able to see results, then I suggest, trying some pole beans. They are just so ready to get out of their seeds and to get that jump start, and then just to really produce a lot of beans. So this was definitely very satisfying for first-time gardeners. And so this was part of our fall garden. Now these turnips, I don't know how they survived the cutworms, but we grew them, I think, about the same time as the beans over here, and nothing really has hurt them too much. I found some worms on their leaves. Oh, and see, there's a caterpillar right there. I'm gonna have to go get that thing off. But I have sprayed, but yeah, that guy, he's got to come off. I don't know if you can see him through the netting there, but he's on that leaf. But for the most part, oh, there's a woolly one. See, notice their potty just gives them away. So there's the potty on that leaf right there, and the worm. Can you see him? His little fuzz is showing through some of the holes. Try keeping the center of the screen there. There he is. There's his face. I think you can see it. There he is. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go and get these guys. But for the most part, it looks like we are going to have turnips, a harvest of turnips. So that is fantastic. And I don't know why, if we have so many cutworms, that we're getting my kohlrabi and cabbages and everything. It just kind of really left my turnips and beans alone. But these are just gorgeous, and so I'm really looking forward to when we can harvest them. There's Miss Hannah eating a stick. You know we feed you good food, right? Here's our hoop house that we built in the middle of the heat, middle of July, in the middle of a record breaking number of days that had high humidity in the 90s. And we got it done, but I did feel like sometimes it was going to actually kill us. But it's really, really awesome to have. And this is where I've hidden some of my plants from the cutworms. And let's go see how they're doing this morning. Hopefully there's nothing shocking in here. We have brought in some tomatoes from our front beds, from our raised beds, to see how long they might continue to produce fruit. I think we saw some new tomatoes on one of these guys here, so a lot slower than in the summer, of course. Oh, here they are. Here's some new tomatoes, but it's just an experiment. What we feel like, everything we do here is just an experiment to see what we can do. So we brought these in just to see how they'll do in the hoop house. Our goal is to make this hoop house where we do grow next year's peppers and tomatoes, and keep the weather off them as much as possible. We have discovered, though, that even if they're in here, that hornworms can find them, so they won't be protected from all the pests, but maybe from mostly the weather, rain beating them down and stuff. But this is where, if it survived the cutworm, I brought them in here. So one of my cauliflowers, here and here. And then cabbage. Nope, that is broccoli. That's one of the cabbages that we saved from a cutworm, along with this right here. So they are doing really, really well. Brussels sprouts. Wait for this guy to turn red. Here we have more cabbage. And our truvia plant. And a lemon tree. And it's 60 degrees in here now. I think its outside temperature is probably around 60 as well. Even though we have plastic up, it only gets its heat from the warmth of the sun. So when the sun goes down, these plants get cold. So we're thinking about ordering some agro cloth to hang from the center perhaps, and bringing some plants closer and surround them with that when it really starts to get cold and we get into the low 30s to protect them. And another experiment, some okra plants. I don't think I'll get any okra. I did plant them in the fall, but they just seem to really take off slow. But we'll see what we can do. We'll see how far we can come. But yeah, I don't know if these are just going to be more leaves or what we have here. But anyway, it has been a great place to for me to remove the plants from the rows and protect them from those nasty cutworms I can't even find. So another fall crop was radishes. These are your icicle radishes. And we put up netting just yesterday because the squirrels are finding their way in here and digging around. I don't know if they're hiding nuts or what, but they take a look at the blueberry box here, and you can see that they have definitely been scrounging around. It just looks like they're, digging, but I don't know that they're actually putting any nuts in them. So we're like, okay, we got to keep them out of our radishes and other plants. And so this right here is our, what kind of radishes are they? Anyway, your basic reds. And then we have our marigolds, which are kind of wimping out on us right now. And some more icicle radishes here that we protected from the squirrels. And once the cutworms had gotten my kohlrabi, I started some more new seeds in this box right here. So they're doing pretty good. And on the other side of the fence there, closer to the house, we have our spinach bed. So I still need to unwrap the spinach bed. And just yesterday we planted garlic in that open bed there. And we put some netting over it again, just to keep the squirrels from digging in it. So we'll see how that is. And on the other side over there, still covered up, is our salad and kale. I tried to grow kale again. And then we have carrots and premium greens over here. So we've really harvested a lot of our premium greens. Just yesterday we did another cutting, and they're doing really good.